Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Abe Camacho. Today we're talking about advice for frustrated leaders. Let's go. Hey, y'all, welcome back to the podcast. Abe Camacho here. I'm in the car with my brother Paco. You can't see him if you're just listening to the podcast, but if you are watching this on YouTube, then you can't see him. We're driving around right now, finishing some errands, and I just wanted to jump in and connect with y'all. First of all, I just wanted to thank you for tuning in, as always, for all the feedback. I get a good amount of DMs that have to do with the podcast, mostly encouraging, some advice, and it's all appreciated. And I want to thank all of you for just engaging and just being part of this journey with me. This whole year, we committed to posting every week, and so far we've been good. We missed one because we took a week vacation already, but today I wanted to spend some time and talk to leaders, to frustrated leaders. I was going to call this advice for young frustrated leaders, but I don't consider myself to be too young now, and I'm still frustrated, and I mean frustrated in the most positive sense of the word, because frustration for me is just a confirmation that you have a passion. Frustrated leaders, I'm okay with frustrated leaders because this is what it shows me. A frustrated leader is a result of a person that understands that they have a call and a destination that they're supposed to get to, but they're in the in-between phase. They're not where they used to be. They're not where they're supposed to be. They're in the middle. So if you are frustrated, I want you to know this. You are headed in the right direction. And today I want to talk to you about 4 things that I connected with my leadership crew at our church in Cornerstone downtown. And this is something that we went over this week, and I wanted to share it with you, our podcast listeners and watchers, because we love you so much. So the first thing that we want to talk about is this. If you're frustrated, because every week somebody will hit me up if I'm down for coffee, if I'm down to talk, and I already know what we're going to talk about, their frustrations. I mean, they can be talking about growth, they can be talking about finances, they can be talking about relationships, but it is very few the times when I get invited to coffee for them to give me good news or to let me know something great that's happening. Usually when people hit me up, it's because they want some sort of advice, or they want just to be heard, or they want to process through some big decisions. So I wanted to share with you the 4 filters that I always check with them before I give them any advice, because truthfully, it's not that they're in the wrong place. Is usually that they're using the wrong filter to see where they are. They're operating in the dark. And the thing about light is this: you cannot see the light, but it allows you to see everything. Without the light, you can't see. And most of the times, a lot of leaders operate in the dark. They don't have clarity about their mission. They don't have clarity about who's in their team. And they don't have clarity about the goals that they want to meet in this particular area of ministry. So today, I'm going to give you the 4 filters that I check before I enter into any advice. And I wrote them down, and I want to share them with you. The first filter that I always make sure that leaders have is the right perspective. Perspective is everything. Oftentimes, in the spiritual sense, I tell people, see things through God's perspective. You always want to get a higher perspective of things. And this is the thought behind perspective. Every challenge looks like a giant when you're surrounded by cowards. Every challenge looks like a giant when you're surrounded by cowards. What does that mean? Have you ever been told, man, it's not as easy as you think? You ask for someone for advice, and tell you, man, it's harder than you think. And you adopt someone else's perspective, so you begin to enter into a season of leadership already with somebody else's perspective. I'm telling you, no, get your own perspective. Every challenge looks like a giant when you're surrounded by cowards. But something happens when you get the right perspective, when you get your own perspective, when you go out, because maybe the reason why they couldn't accomplish it is because they don't have the grace for the challenge when you have the grace for the challenge. So first of all, get the right perspective. See things the right way. See every challenge as an obstacle that you will overcome in order to get to your promised land. Now, if you are seeing a giant right now in your leadership, let me tell you, your promised land is right on the other side. You're facing the right direction. If you're facing away from your giants, you're facing away from your destiny. So first of all, Do you have the right perspective? Get your own perspective. Get not what your friends, not what your peers say, but get what God says about your situation and about you in the right perspective, and watch how everything comes into order. The second filter is having the right community. Did you have the right community? Community is not about getting people in, but it's also about getting people out. Community is like culture. Community is a greenhouse. It doesn't just grow like a wild forest, but it is a greenhouse. The community is by choice, the people that you have in. And this is the biggest thing that I check in with people when they struggle with community. You have to make a commitment to always go the right way, even if it's not your way. I'm going to say that again. Make the commitment to go the right way, even if it's not your way. What do I mean by that? A lot of leaders jump out of community, jump out of leadership, jump out of their roles, because in whatever moment in their path of leadership in the organization, a decision is made that they don't agree with. Now, I'm not talking about moral, ethical, spiritual, but I'm talking about organizational decisions that maybe somebody else in the leadership world, or maybe collectively, another decision was made that you do not agree with, or maybe it wasn't your idea. I'm telling you, sometimes it's better just to be part of the team, even if you think it's going to fail. And trust me, if it fails, you will get credit for it, in the sense of like, they will know that you were right all along, but they will acknowledge it only if you stick it out and you say, you know what, we don't have to try my idea. If everyone thinks their idea is better, let's try it. And you choose community over right. Choose being in community over being right. So the second thing I always tell people is this: are you in the right community? If they're frustrated, oftentimes I realize that most of the leaders who are frustrated and ready to give up are because they have been doing life alone. So always check the filter of community. The third filter is having the right focus. And who is the right focus? It's people. Leader, I'm going to tell you this, and I hope that this inspires you. If you're in leadership, I want you to really take this to heart. People are not there to see you. They are there to be seen. If you are the leader, every time people get around you, doesn't matter how great you are, how gifted you are, how talented you are, more often than not, if you're a pastor, if you're a leader in an organization, if you're leading a small group, if you're a youth pastor, if you're a creative director, people are not showing up to your meetings to see you. They're showing up to be seen. So have the right focus. Do not treat your meetings as the spectacle where they get to come and they get to see you in your genius. But make all your meetings and meetups gathering where people can come and they have an opportunity to be seen and to be heard. And this is how I run my meetings. I do not just listen to the experts, but I listen to people who oftentimes don't have the boldness to speak up. If you really want to change your culture, you have to listen to the people that don't always agree with you, because the ones that always agree with you will lead you to a place of stagnation and plateau, because they're happy the way it is. But you will never progress if you keep your organization and your church and your leadership team just the way it is. So you have to have the right focus. When you have a meeting, it's not just for you to be heard, because you can just write an email, or you can just have a podcast and a vlog like this and have people hear your thoughts. But real focus is this: if you're a leader, your job is not just to say what needs to happen, but to gather the collective genius of the team that God has placed around you, so that you can make the best decision and lead your church, your team, and your organization forward. So when people are frustrated, I always tell them, do you have the right focus? Are you upset because people don't see your genius? And hear this out: people will take notice of your genius, but they'll forget it, but they will never forget your kindness. People will take notice of your genius, but they will never forget your kindness. If you have the right focus, you will be kind. You will choose to be generous before being right. You will choose to lead and see people before obsessing and being seen. So that is always the third thing I check in with leaders when they call me when they're frustrated. They're always like, man, I'm frustrated. I'm ready to give up. And I'm like, do you have the right focus? Do you understand that nobody owes you anything? And the fourth thing that I always tell people is this: do you have the right spirit? What is the right spirit? Growth is the right spirit. Your organization has a calling to grow. your ministry is supposed to grow. Why? Because if God is in it, it always gets better and better. A lot of leaders come up to me and they're frustrated because they want to go and be part of an organization and a church that is big because they feel they have a big call. Everybody wants to go to a big church, but nobody wants to build a big church. Everybody wants to be a part of something great, but nobody wants to build something great. This is my advice to you, leader, who are frustrated, who are ready to dip and you're ready to go. Don't leave in search of something meaningful. Make everything around you meaningful. Every organization that is meaningful, it is because somebody created it that way by design. And if you're part of a church or organization that you feel is doing something that is not meaningful, then that is an opportunity for you to do something, make decisions, bring people, and establish a culture where you are is the most meaningful place in the world. The lie is this, that the grass is greener on the other side. The truth is this, the grass is greener where you water it. So leaders, I just want to encourage you. And of course, I gave this vlog out. This is kind of what I do in my coffee meetings. But if you still want to do coffee, I'm game. Hit me up. And I want to just thank you for being part of this. And I want to encourage you and tell you this truth, that you are loved, that you're in the right place, that you are a leader, that you have the answers, make the decisions, get advice, have the right heart, have the right focus, have the right community, and know this, that your best days are ahead of you. That's not a cliche, but that is a promise. I love you so much. Thank you so much for checking in this week. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when I drop the next one. They're always on Mondays at some point. And then if you're listening to this on iTunes, I love you. Please rate it, leave a review, share it on social media. It makes a world of a difference. I love you so much. Thank you so much for checking in, and we will see you next week. Peace out.